प्रणाम महाराज।
Namaste, welcome. Hope to see you in Delhi.
Are you coming to Delhi?
Yes,
When?
uh, 23rd, 23rd, 24th. 24th to your place, Gurgaon.
Okay.
Okay, we'll say our prayer, then we'll start. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanu Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय आविराविर्मयेधि ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् आत्मानम् अखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये May we be protected, may we be nourished, may we strive with energy and vigor, may our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment and not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om peace, peace, peace. I take refuge in the self, the indivisible, the existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute, beyond the reach of words and thought, and the substratum of all, for the attainment of my cherished desire. So I take refuge in the self. Self is the basis of the whole existence. Whatever we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, these are our experiences, even our memory, our emotions. Everything is based on the self. This whole world, where is this whole world? On the self, based on the self. That's why absolute beyond the reach of words and thought. Words and thoughts, when I am speaking, it's outside. Even thought is also outside. What is inside? Who is thinking? Who is speaking? So I take refuge in Him, beyond the reach of words and thought, and the substratum of all. This, whatever we see, experience. Say, suppose in our dream, whatever we experience, it is all based on the self. Similarly, this also, this whole world, what we experience is on the self, the substratum. For the attainment of my cherished desire. What is that? Cherished desire to realize one's own self. Last time it was discussed that when we all think about I am not body, I am not mind, and this, then we lose devotion. How? We don't lose devotion. Rather, we can understand in a better way. Suppose you know about your food, that this is beneficial, this contains this. When you know, you'll relish, you'll feel better. So knowledge does not impair people. Rather, knowledge empowers people. So knowledge is very important. Willy-nilly, we want to know. Say, suppose I say, okay, go there. So you'll ask, Swami, what is there? Please tell me. If it is good, then I'll go. So we want to know. Suppose I say, no, 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 just, have devotion in God. Then who is God? Let me understand. What is his name? How he looks like? Where does he live? So these are our basic questions. Today it's very important, but before we go forward, let us read from the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. David.
We have seen how the idea of Maya, before I start, I'm reading from the lecture from Swami Vivekananda called Maya and the Evolution of the Conception of God. We have seen how the idea of Maya, which forms, as it were, one of the basic doctrines of the Advaita Vedanta, is, in its germs, found even in the Samhitas, and that in reality, all the ideas which are developed in the Upanishads are to be found already in the Samhitas in some form or other. Most of you are by this time familiar with the idea of Maya and know that it is sometimes erroneously explained as illusion. So that when the universe is said to be Maya, that also has to be explained as being illusion. The translation of the word is neither happy nor correct. Maya is not a theory. It is simply a statement of facts about the universe as it exists.
Say Maya. Ya Ma. What it is not, but it has power. Say, when a magician shows a magic and we are convinced, so he has a power. So it is not totally illusion. Say, when we have $1 bill, or say $100 bill, what is there? It is written, by the authority that the value of this bill is $100. It has power, but otherwise, if you see, it is only a paper. But paper with authority. So God has the power of Maya. Through that, he creates, preserves, and destroys. A cinematographer, what he does? He has a script, and he shoots some pictures. And you go to movie theater, and as he wants, sometimes he'll make you weep, sometimes he make you happy, and he'll jump. Oh, very good, very nice. So all is play. He has a power. And as soon as you enter in movie hall, you are under his spell. Though you know it is all pictures, but you'll be, what a tragedy. And sometimes you'll be happy, wow, wonderful. So it is because of that power. Though whatever is happening on the screen, that may not hold good. And after coming out, oh yeah, very nice, it was nice. It's a good movie or bad movie. That Thor got power, and Mr. Doctor Who disappeared. So somebody started crying. Oh, Doctor the Miss Doctor Doctor Who had disappeared. So he started crying. But he also knows that it's all false. False means that image is false, but that power is real. Okay, go ahead.
In all the religions of the world, the one question they propose to discuss is this: why is there disharmony in the universe? Why is there this evil in the universe? We do not find this question in the very inception of primitive religious ideas, because the world did not appear incongruous to the primitive man. Circumstances were not inharmonious for him. There was no dash of opinions. To him, there was no antagonism of good and evil. There was merely a feeling in his own heart of something which said yeah and something which said nay. The primitive man was a man of impulse. He did what occurred to him and tried to bring out through his muscles whatever thought came into his mind. And he never stopped to judge and seldom tried to check his impulses. So with the gods, they were also creatures of impulse. Indra comes and shatters the forces of the demons. Jehovah is pleased with one person and displeased with another. For what reason, no one knows or asks. The habit of inquiry had not then arisen, and whatever he did was regarded as right. There was no idea of good or evil. The Devas did many wicked things in our sense of the word. Again and again, Indra and other gods committed very wicked deeds. But to the worshippers of Indra, the ideas of wickedness and evil did not occur, so they did not question them. With the advance of ethical ideas came the fight. There arose a certain sense in man, called in
Like
different
say,
languages.
think about it. Say, suppose a cinema is going, and that's in English, as here it's happening in America. So he does not know English. So he'll say, "What is this?" He'll come inside and maybe he'll disturb. But you are enjoying. So what is the point? Point is those who has that acquaintance and they are under the spell. But primitive man has not grown that far. So uh, for him the rationality, that fine sense may not grown. So they may not, whatever is there, they'll take as it is. Yeah, that is. Yeah, go ahead.
There arose a certain sense in man, called in different languages and nations by different names. Call it the voice of God, or the result of past education, or whatever else you like. But the effect was this, that it had a checking power upon the natural impulses of man. There is one impulse in our minds which says do. Behind it rises another voice which says do not. There is one set of ideas in our mind which is always struggling to get outside through the channels of the senses. And behind that, although it may be thin and weak, there is an infinitely small voice which says, do not go outside. The two beautiful Sanskrit words for these phenomena are pravriti and nivriti, circling forward and circling inward. It is the circling forward which usually governs our actions. Religion begins with this circling inward. Religion begins with this do not. Spirituality begins with this do not. When the do not is not there, religion has not begun. And this do not came, causing men's ideas to grow, despite the fighting gods which they had worshipped.
Okay. Say like a child. He sees a beautiful flame. It's licking. It's fluttering. And beautiful color. So he wants to touch it. And then he learns, oh, it is burning. So the next time onward, he will not touch that. So what is the point? Point is, this whole world is so attractive. Beautiful color, beautiful form, beautiful It promises a lot, $1 million. But if you touch it, then you are gone. You are burned. So that there comes, no, not this. So then comes inquiry. What is then? What is that reality that I am seeking? So one day he finds it is not outside, it is within. Then comes withdrawal from the senses. Then religion starts. So this is called pravritti, means going outward. Nivritti means going within. The inquiry comes. See, like a primitive man may not understand why people go to school. But evolved person understand, oh, because my ancestors, they have learned something. The easiest way to acquire that knowledge by going to school. Then he learns alphabets. See, alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. A primitive man may not understand what is this A, B, C, D. But then the combination starts, then the sentences start, and then the meaning starts, perception starts, all the aesthetic starts. So all these come following one thing, alphabet. Primitive men may not understand why this A, B, why say should A for apple, B for whatever. So this finding meaning, first he finds that outside it's meaningful, so attractive, so nice. But then he finds, no, it's not, beauty is not outside. Beauty is not on the hill or dale or anywhere. It is in the eyes of the onlooker. He should develop what is the beauty. Then only he can see, oh, wonderful. Say, potato seller may not understand the beauty. He is busy in potato selling. But an evolved man, aesthetic man, he will understand, oh, what a beautiful Mount Hood or Columbia River or that gorge. Okay.
A little love awoke in the hearts of mankind. It was very small indeed, and even now it is not much greater. It was at first confined to a tribe, embracing perhaps members of the same tribe. These gods loved their tribes, and each god was a tribal god, the protector of that tribe. And sometimes the members of a tribe would think of themselves as the descendants of their god, just as the clans in different nations think that they are the common descendants of the man who was the founder of the clan. There were in ancient times, and are even now, some people who claim to be descendants not only of these tribal gods, but also of the sun and the moon. You read in the ancient Sanskrit books of the great heroic emperors of the solar and lunar dynasties. They were first worshippers of the sun and the moon, and gradually came to think of themselves as descendants of the god of the sun, of the moon, and so forth. So when these tribal ideas began to grow, there came a little love, some slight idea of duty towards each other, a little social organization. Then naturally the idea came, how can we live together without bearing and forbearing? How can one man live with another without having some time or other to check his impulses, to restrain himself, to forbear from doing things which his mind would prompt him to do? It is impossible. Thus comes the idea of restraint. The whole social fabric is based upon that idea of restraint. And we all know that the man or woman who has not learnt the great lesson of bearing and forbearing leads a most miserable life.
So here Swamiji, like descent, just inform the descent. Anyway, let us go to our text today. And today is very important topic. So realizing what is that basis of everything? Is it outside or it is inside? Then many thoughts came, and lastly, Upanishad says, Adhuna, oh, that Brahmasmi. So Brihadaranya Upanishad says, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am the basis of the whole universe. Now, what is I and what is Brahman? So, this are to be purified. These are to be find the meaning. What is the meaning of Aham? Is this body? Is this mind? Is the intellect? Or what is it that Aham? And Brahma, what is Brahman? We have last time we had example. Oh, you are the same Tom that I saw you 20 years back. Soyam Devadatta. He is that same Devadatta. Soyam Devadatta. So he is the same Tom. So what we do mentally, what we do? That time he was a child. Mentally we remove that childness because that time he did not have mustache and he was a young like child. Now he's a grown up man. He has gone to university and has earned his degrees. What we do mentally, we deduct both. Now has mustache. So we don't compare with this body. We don't compare with mind because mind, state of mind, that time it was not developed as of now. What we do, we compare the two persons. It's called Shodhana. Shodhana means purification. So we have already done Tat Tvam Asi. Thou art that. So that and thou. Thou means you. The teacher says, thou art that. You are searching. Whom you are searching? You are himself. You are that. So generally what we think, that we have this body. Oh yes, how can I, this small person, be that? Who is God? So we have already done that, so I am not going back. So ityadi anubhava. Now is being described the meaning of the sentence, I am Brahman. Aduna aham brahmasmi iti anubhava vakyartho varnyate. Now, because this is anubhava, one I was when in ignorance. Now with knowledge. So I am the same Brahman. So aham brahmasmi. This, my real self is Brahman. So it is realization. Realization. Say it is like this. That that story of 10 people that they were crossed a stream, 10 people, and then the other shore, when they went there, then they counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they were confused. Oh, we have lost one friend. They started weeping. But then a good man came and said, why are you weeping? Then they said, no, we have lost a friend. How? We were 10, now we are 9. Oh, count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And he said, no, take this hand. Dashamas tamasi. You are the 10th. So it is finding what is already available. The man does not disappear. Praptasya prapti. To get whatever is already there. So we are Brahman. I am Brahman. But what happens because of this covering of Maya? We think that I am not that. You see, like this. A small droplet and sun is reflected on it. The droplet thinks, I am the sun. I am the sun. But a time comes when this drop disappears, evaporates and disappears. So where is that sun? Sun is where it is. That was only reflected. So what happens because of reflection, this small container that is called this person, it looks like I am that one. But it is not this self, but the real self. whatever is being reflected. Okay, another example. You are standing in front of a mirror. Oh, see, I have to shave. You don't shave there, you shave here. So any spot there, you don't clear that spot. Rather, you clear here. So whatever is reflected, that is only a shadow. Seeing that, you have to see the real self. So this is reflected. This body, mind, intellect, these are reflected. Seeing this, we have to find our real self. So that is what is being, and it is experienced. You experience when you see your image, you don't shave there. You experience that, oh no, I am here. What you do, you deduct mentally. So now, evam acharyena adhyaropa apavad purasaram. So adhyaropa apavad means that we superimposed our image on the screen, on the mirror, and we think sometimes, um, that little children or even birds, they pick, and even monkeys. After that, after certain time, when they know that whatever face they are making, the image is also making the same face. So then they go the other side. Then they find nobody is there. As children, you can see that. So it's called cleaning, shodhana, adhyaropa apavad. So we superimpose something, then we remove that apavad. Evam acharyena adhyaropa apavada purasaram. When the teacher in this way clears the meaning of the words that and thou, that's Devdatta and present Devdatta. So he cleans like all the adjuncts and shows that it is the same person. Similarly, it is the same entity, same existence. Um, so, when the teacher in this way clears the meaning of the words that and thou by the refutation of the superimpositions, by removing superimpositions. If you see, like you are driving, you see water at distance. What you do? You go closer. And naturally that water goes away. It was only a refraction. So, by this way, by intellect, one can remove superimposition. Superimposition is something which is not there, by we presume that it is there. Like, in fact, we are not bodies. How we know? In your dream, you forget every day. Your resources, your money, etc. When you are awake, then only you are aware of your money. So it is not in your hands. So what is that? Even body, mind, etc. disappears. So these are not our real self. But we never disappear. That is our real self. Whatever never disappears, that is the real self. So thou and that, by the refutation of superimpositions, and makes the qualified student grasp the import of the sentence, thou art that, which is absolute unity. There arises in his mind a state of absolute oneness. So it is like this. You are standing in front of a mirror. Remove the mirror. You saw yourself, then remove the mirror. What is there? You yourself. You don't need a mirror to see that. Why? Because you have awareness of yourself. So, but still it is a vritti. A vritti. What is it? How he recognizes himself? Oh, I am the self. I am eternal, nitya, shuddha. I am pure. Buddha, I am intelligent. I am enlightened. And mukta, pure and free. Satya, real. Swabhava, paramananda, ananta, advayam. Swabhava, by my real nature, I am supreme bliss. As of now, what happens? We suffer from various worries, mental disturbances. Somebody says something, somebody uh, um, say insulted me. So we remember this and we suffer. But that time when you feel, say like this, you are standing, your mirror is broken by someone. And if you think that you are the image that is in the mirror, then you are broken. But you are not broken. But this is what we feel. The feeling is also outside of us. So what we feel when we have realization that I am eternal, nitya, shuddha, pure, buddha, enlightened, mukta, pure, free, satya, truth, swabhava. My real nature is Paramananda Swarupa, swabhava. I am supreme bliss myself. No need of seeking bliss outside. What happens? We generally seek contacts that gives us joy. Like we food, tongue comes in contact with some food, then we have some sensation, and that we like. Sugar. It's very attractive, but that does harm. So Nitya Shuddha Buddha. This is going down. It's not on. Okay. Okay. So that I am Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava Paramananda Ananda Ananta Advayam Ananta eternal Advayam non-dual Brahma Asmi iti Akhandakara Karita Chitta Vritti Videti. So this still it is a Chitta Vritti, mental modification. Still it is mental modification. So it is still some little of screen is there. On that screen, still I am imagining. So what that imagination is not bad. It is like we are at the verge of understanding that what is my real nature. So anyway, we go forward. Satu chit pratibimba sahita sati pratyag abhinnam ajnatam param brahma vishayikritta tadgata ajnanam eva badhate tada patakaranam tantu dahe पट दाहवत अखिल कारणे अज्ञाने बाधिते सति तत् कार्यस्य अखिलस्य बाधितत्वात् तदंतर्भूत अखंडाकाराकारिता चित्तवृत्तिरपि बाधिता भवति. Now, what happens then next? Still it is a chittavritti, mental modification. What is mental modification? Like lake, and you throw stone, and it cuts into waves. So, our mind, whatever we see, hear, touch, taste, all these rise a kind of mental wave that's called chitta vritti. So, because of chitta vritti, we perceive. I am seeing you. How? Your image is coming to my retina, and then it has some impulses that is converted into the nerve currents, and then it goes to my brain. Still it is not recognized. Then comes my consciousness. In front of consciousness it is revealed. Then I interpret, oh, you are Tom or Dick or Harry. So this is because of mental modification that we recognize. So mental state illumined by the reflection of pure consciousness. Now what I am seeing sun. I am seeing my real self. So it as if that is also a kind of mental modification. I see sun, or say I see this light. So this is a kind of mental modification. But that mental state illumined by the reflection of pure consciousness makes the Supreme Brahman unknown but identical with the individual self, its object, and destroys the ignorance pertaining to Brahman. So what happens when I see sun? So light. So all the darkness is gone. Similarly, when I perceive myself, real self, then what happens? At that time it is like how this cloth is made. The cloth is made by various threads, this way, that way. So this cloth, if I burn all the threads, the cloth is burnt. Similarly, if that vritti, when it burns that ignorance, because of which I was seeing this body mind complex as myself, then this ignorance totally goes away. Okay, it's like this. When we see a snake on a rope, if I bring light, the snakeness goes away, because the light illumines and removes ignorance of that snake, which was the cause of the that snake was superimposed on it. Snake was superimposed on the rope. As I bring light, that ignorance goes away. Ignorance has two powers. One covers it, another reflects it. So here, by light, that covering power goes away, and also reflective power goes away. Therefore, it reveals, oh, it is not a snake, it is a rope. Okay. So, Satu Chit Pratibimba Sahita, that mental state illumined by the reflection of pure consciousness. Now, pure consciousness is reflected and illumines. So, you are seeing your image in the mirror. By the reflection of pure consciousness makes the Supreme Brahman unknown, but identical with the individual self, its object, and destroys the ignorance pertaining to Brahman. So that mental modification by which we had that also goes away. So the Brahmakara vritti goes away. Then what remains? That when the ignorance goes away, it is the same sun. When say like a drop has a limitation and it falls in the ocean, what happens? It removes its limitedness and it becomes unlimited. When a ray of sun goes and meets the sun, what happens? It is one with the sun. Similarly, this mental modification, when merges in the self, removing all mental modifications, then it Brahma with Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So these are two things. One is called Vritti Vyapti, and second is called Phala Vyapti. So it is like this. Vritti Vyapti means whatever we see. Say I am seeing a mobile phone. So my eyes, my attention goes there and it covers the whole area. So it becomes a mental modification. So it is Vyapti means it is covering. Vritti Vyapti. Mental, it is covering by mental modification. And Phala Vyapti means how it is revealed. It reveals by my awareness. You know what happens nowadays? AI, artificial intelligence. So it can drive, even it can drive the car as if human being. But actually what is happening? It is the person who coded that. It's him who is represented there. The AI present in the car cannot feel. Not only feel, it is not that real self. It's only reflected. It is only imitation. Imitation of whom? The person who has coded it. This is a little difference. What is? We perceive everything in our mind. How we perceive matter, the impulses of matter comes to our eyes and goes to our mind. According to Vedanta, mind is also matter. So whatever happens in mind, mental modification, that is also matter. It is also based on 5 panchabhuta, 5 elements. So we have already studied all these things. What we know, that one is called matter, one is called consciousness. As of now, even that AI is imitating our mind, so it is matter. But it is not consciousness. It cannot feel. It cannot feel like first hand, like I am speaking. I am feeling that you are there. You are also feeling that I am there. So this feeling is absent in AI. So one thing is consciousness. I am conscious being. You are a conscious being. Now all the impulses that you gather, those are material. But you yourself is conscious of yourself. So all kinds of impulses that we receive, that Brahman, Jiva, Jagat, Maya, so all these are objects. But something is there which is called subject, that cannot be objectified. On this, all objects merge. So when everything merges, then what happens? That mental state illumined by the reflection of pure consciousness makes the Supreme Brahman unknown, Supreme Brahman. Unknown but identical with the individual self, its object, and destroys the ignorant pertaining to Brahman. So what happens when we have Brahmakara vritti? Then that also goes away. That mental modification goes away. The ignorance pertaining to Brahman. Then, just as cloth is burnt, then the threads composing it are burnt. So all the effects of ignorance are destroyed. When their cause, that means ignorance, is destroyed, hence the mental state of absolute oneness, which forms part of those effects, is also destroyed. Okay, it is like this. You go to sleep, and then what happens? Maybe you dream something. A time comes when dream also stops, and you are in yourself. There is no reflection. And in the morning when you wake up, you say, oh, I slept so very well that I did not know anything. So merging or removing all the objects, who remains? You remain. You never say that, oh, I slept but I was not there. You experience that unity. The only difference is that this unity is within ignorance. That's why you say, I did not know anything. Sukham aham aswapsam nakinchit avedisham. But a situation, a state is there when all the objects are gone, but sun is ablaze. When there is no mirror, and you realize that you yourself are here. So all the reflections, all the waves, mental modifications are gone. Then who remains? You yourself. So in absence of mental modification, what? The reality that shines forth. It's like burning of all the threads. And burning of all threads means burning of the cloth. When the images or cloth is not there, then who remains? He remains who remains. And the song I sang today, that there are so many jivas and jagat, and gradually that merge in one. And when it merges in one, what remains? Only that I am, I am, I am, I am, that remains. Aham aham iti sarvakshana. All the time it is I am, I am, I am this. And that also merges. Then what remains? Bojhe pran bojheja. He understands who understands. What happened to Sri Ramakrishna? Sri Ramakrishna was dancing with devotees, singing the glories of God. Then that is called his out bahya dasha, state of outside awareness. Then he becomes absorbed and he is within himself. He is not aware of outside. But a time comes when he is merged in samadhi, he is in himself. What happens then? There is no vritti, there is no mental modification there. So, chitta vrittirapi vadhita bhavati. Then all the mental modification also stops. All the reflections gone. You yourself are standing for eternity. You yourself is existing for eternity. If I say standing, that means we need 2 feet. No, you alone are there. I alone am there. That is called aham brahmasmi. Anyway, we go forward. Tat pratibimbitam chaitanyam api yatha deepa prabhadi vat aditya prabha avabhasana asamartha sati. So let us go to the translation. As the light of a lamp cannot illumine the lustre of the sun, but is overpowered by it. So like suppose by a droplet, and it is reflected sun there. Is that reflected sun illumine sun? No. But what happens? It merges in that. So as the light of a lamp cannot illumine the lustre of the sun, but is overpowered it. Rather, it merges. That light also merges in it. So overpowered by it. So consciousness reflected in the state of the mind is unable to illumine the Supreme Brahman. So we have, say, like reflected consciousness. We deal everything of this world, how? Reflected consciousness. It is like on a screen, the light is reflected, but source of screen is behind. Say here, whatever you are seeing, actually the origin is here, and it is being reflected there. If I move, now it's there. If he moves, then it will move. So tat pratibimbitam, as the light of a lamp cannot illumine, this cannot illumine that one. A droplet, that reflected sun in the drop, cannot illumine the original sun. So that is being said. As the light of a lamp cannot illumine the lustre of the sun, but is overpowered by it. So consciousness reflected in that state of the mind is unable to illumine the Supreme Brahman. So in our mind, whatever is reflected, the consciousness, that cannot reveal Brahman. So the Supreme Brahman, self-effulgent and identical with the individual self, and is overpowered by it. And on the obstruction of this state of absolute oneness with which that consciousness is associated, there remains only the Supreme Brahman, identical with the individual self. Just as the image of a face in a looking glass is resolved into the face itself when the looking glass is removed. So these are very intricate, one has to understand very in a contemplative way. Now a question comes. In Upanishads, there are two statements. One says, Manasaive eva anudrashtabhyam. So through mind, we have to understand. We have to see him. And another Upanishad says, by mind you cannot realize him. Yan manasana manute. Now this is a conflict. How? One statement says that you can know through mind. And this is no, you cannot know through mind. So how this can be resolved? This conflict can be resolved. So Sruti Avirodho Vritti Vyapti. So we already discussed. One is Vritti Vyapta. So like there are two things. One is say what happens when we see something. How we see. I want to see. I want to see this screen, or I want to see this mobile phone. So my attention and awareness goes there. It covers this object and makes a mental modification. Oh, it is a say rectangular, and this is like metallic, and this and that, all the qualities. So these are mental modification. Vritti Vyapya. So it is covering this whole thing. But that will not illumine. Why? Because this is going to brain. Still it is not identified. This light goes to my retina. Retina is taken. Impulses are taken by nerve current to brain. Still it is not recognized until or unless the reflected consciousness identifies it. Before that it is not recognized. So it says, oh, it is, it's a mobile phone. Say suppose 40 years back somebody showed this something. You'll ask, what is this? And then he'll tell the name. This mental. So when he sees the name, they'll say, oh, this is a mobile phone. Next time you can identify. So what two things are happening? One is the vritti, mental modification, it goes and comes to us. It is like on the screen, it is being reflected. And then the awareness that is within me, that reveals that view. Even, like in AI, what is happening? It goes. Then there is another software who compares. Oh, this is a mobile phone. So one is like a camera, this camera is taking my photos. But it does not know who am I. So it is taking photos. Only thing, another software will say, oh, this is an image of a person. So one is called Vritti Vyapya and one is called Phala Vyapya. Phala means fruit. It covers or it identifies. So here what is being said, that Vritti Vyapya we admit, because until unless we want to see and it covers, we cannot identify. But it cannot reveal itself. Rather, the consciousness that reveals. So, yan manasana manute, when it is said that mind, mental wave cannot recognize this. But mind, the vritti should go there. So we can, in one way we can say, it's by the help of mind we see. If I don't put my mind there, say like you may read something but your mind is somewhere else. You won't understand a word. So one is called vritti vapya and one you recognize. So manasaiva anudrashtavyam, putting your mind by vritti you can cover, but mind cannot reveal it. It is the consciousness that reveals. So that's being said. And Sri Ramakrishna, we can take Sri Ramakrishna. He says that pure mind, pure intellect, and pure self is one and the same thing. Because then mind loses its mindness. Yeah. Shrutyanayoha shrutyo avidudho. So, so there is no contradiction. That is what being said. Such being the case, there is no contradiction between the following Shruti passage. By the mind alone, it is to be perceived. That means a vritti. Vritti should go there. And that which cannot be thought of by the mind. By the mind you cannot, recognize. We are supposed that the unknown Brahman is brought into contact with only the mental state. So when we are concentrating, the mind is ekagra. Then only it recognizes. So it is vritti is covering, but fruits is coming by Brahman itself because it is self-illumined. You cannot illumine a sun by a droplet. Even that reflected thing is also from Brahman. That awareness also in us is from Brahman. So how the reflected awareness can reveal the origin? It cannot. So that's why it says we are to suppose that the unknown Brahman is brought into contact with only the mental state, but not with the underlying consciousness. Now there is a shloka. Taduktam. Phala vyapyatvam evasya shastra kriddhi nivaritam. Brahmanya brahma jnana nashaya vritti vyapti rapekshita. So that's why our teacher says, okay, meditate and do this, do that, so that mind is concentrated on it and with one-pointedness, single-mindedness, that is required. But revelation comes from within. Phala cannot come through mind. It is from within. Now, thus it has been said, the authors of the scriptures have refuted the idea that the individual consciousness can manifest the Brahman. So individual consciousness means, thus it has been said that the authors of the scriptures have refuted the idea, like discarded, that the individual consciousness can manifest. It is reflected, like a sun in droplet. So it is reflected. How reflected sun can reveal sun? It cannot. So it is refuted that it cannot manifest Brahman. But they admit that the Brahman associated with ignorance is brought into contact with the mental states only for the purpose of dispelling ignorance regarding it. So, like if our mind is always outgoing, we cannot understand. So it should be concentrated. So mind is to be focused on it. But revelation comes from within. That mind cannot reveal it. That's it. Now, Brahman being self-luminous does not depend on the individual consciousness for its illumination. So Panchadashi says so, that Brahman, like sun, is self-illuminating. Sun cannot be revealed by reflected light in droplets. So we have said droplets, like this individual is droplets. So that reflected awareness cannot reveal the real awareness. Rather, it comes by itself. But there is a difference when the mental state assumes the form of material object. But two things, like I was always showing this. This is material object. Material object. So what is happening? My mind is going there, so it is making a mental modification. So vritti vyapko. And my reflected consciousness is saying, oh, you see, this is called mobile phone. So reflected consciousness can reveal outside objects, and it is happening all the time. But it cannot reveal what is self-illumining. It cannot reveal what is self-illumining. So Brahman being the luminous does not depend on the individual consciousness for its illumination. Now, but there is a difference when the mental state assumes the form of material objects. So this is material objects. One thing is the inner being, that real being in me, it is self-illumining. तथा ही अयम घट इति घटाकार कारित चित्त वृत्ति अज्ञातम घटम. So because in the case of the experience, this is a jar, this is a mobile phone. The mental state assumes the form of the mobile phone, makes the unknown jar its object. So it makes an object and dispels the ignorance regarding it. That means, oh, it is, what is this? Oh, it is a mobile phone. So reflected consciousness is removing the ignorance of the object. So this is possible. This is possible for objects. But what is self-illuminating, it cannot be revealed by reflected consciousness. That is the hope. Now, how we see, that's being said. Taduktam buddhi. So thus it is said that both the intellect and the consciousness underlying it come into contact with the jar. So I am seeing. So what is happening? My mind is going and taking the picture of this, and then it is being reflected, deciphered. What is this? Then my memory says, oh, it is a mobile phone. So reflected consciousness is revealing this. Tatrajnanam dhyanasya. So intellect removes ignorance of this. And abhashana, and that awareness that is within me, that says, that recognizes, oh, this is a mobile phone. Okay, let me, in short, objects can be revealed by the reflected awareness. But the real awareness cannot be revealed by reflected awareness. That is what being said here. Yatha deep prabha mandala. No. Just as the light of a lamp coming into contact with a jar or cloth existing in darkness dispels the darkness which envelops them. So, like, what is this? So this is a mobile phone. So light of a lamp, like this is my awareness, is the light. What it is doing? It removes the ignorance of that object, like jar or mobile phone or cloth, and dispels the darkness which envelops them, and though through its own luster manifests them as well. So the awareness is the luster. By that it is revealed, it is recognized. So we go forward. Till such realizations of the consciousness which is one's own self. It is necessary to practice hearing, reflection, meditation, and absorption, samadhi. Therefore, these are also being explained. Now, you see, it's as simple as that. We see objects, we recognize. Oh, you are seeing this. What is this? A screen. You recognize. How we are doing? So this is a science. We must understand that when we see something, my awareness is going there and it is capturing an image in my mind. But mind cannot understand what it is. So the reflected awareness in me that says, oh, it is a screen, it is a TV screen, or it's a whatever screen it is. So this awareness is reflected awareness in me. It is true for ordinary objects. But for my real self, I need to contemplate, I need to meditate, I need to understand, I need to concentrate. What is my real self? That is what is to be done. So for that one should hear, one should understand. Till such realization of the consciousness which is one's own self, it is necessary to practice hearing, reflection, shravana, manana, and nididhyasana, and absorption, samadhi. And then, once that is revealed, one becomes one with it. So therefore, these are also being explained. Now it will be said. So now we have understood what we are. We are the self. All the objects that we see, it is not me. Objects, what are these? This whole world, objects. Panchabhuta, five principles, five matters, five expressions of matter. What are those? Kshiti, earth, whatever is solid. Kshiti, up, water or liquid, whatever is liquid. Tej, whatever is energy. Marut, whatever is gaseous, like air, and whatever is space. All this is like this. And ultimately all these are energy and energy alone. So matter is the expression of energy in various forms. So this is the object. Even this is also the same thing. And mind is also the same thing. That is why we realize ourselves in Chidakash. Chit, like awareness, consciousness. In that, this all are revealing. But we are that self. And we are to hear it over and over again. We are to contemplate it for years together. And one day it will reveal. It will certainly reveal. That's the assurity is given. And this happens in all way, all paths. Like devotion, what happens? You go and weep in front of God. One day it will reveal. Oh, God is sitting within you. That we are to understand, and that we are to be aware of it. Then what will happen? Then you will feel, I am Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Sabhava. I am eternal. I am pure. I am free. And I am always Anand Sharupa. I have no touch of any suffering in me. All these are mental modification. Therefore, this is the truth. Like why we talk about it, oh, so difficult, Swami, it's so difficult. If we don't talk about only devotion, then, like David says, oh, that Vedanta Society now they have stopped cultivating knowledge. So in a supermarket, everything should be there. If only one item is there, then what happens? They say, no, I'm not interested to go there. In a supermarket, all kinds of things should be there. And Sri Ramakrishna said, if you open a grocery shop, then you keep everything little. So this is the supermarket of ideas, Vedanta Society. If you like devotion, very good, go ahead. If you like knowledge, very good, come in Vedantasara. Then your mind will reel. Swami is reeling. Eh? And if you like to meditate, good. If you want to do some service, very good, come. So he volunteered. So he said, Swami, can I do some seva service? He said, okay, please come. So whosoever, whatever we want, it is available here. So, supermarket of ideas. And in some ways, in some um, procedure, you don't need, it makes self-independent. If you, all the time you weep, oh God, please go do this, and nothing happens, then what is the use of it? Rather be self-independent. So, these are some ideas. And we pray for everyone. Any question? Yeah. What point? When you have knowledge. Okay, what do you do? Tell me one thing that you do. One thing. I'm not asking 10 things. One thing you do. Tell me. That's also impulse. You like it, so that impulse brings you here. If something brings you here, then how you do? It is impulse. You liking. Everything, it's happening. Prakrutehi kriyamanani gunahi karmani sarvas. See, like this. Everything is being like sattva, rajas and tamas. It's being played. So, our nature is also like that. Everything is happening in the nature. Prakritehe kriyamanani gunaini karmani sarvasha. Ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. Egoistic fool thinks that I am doing. It is like this. When you are sleeping and a tiger is chasing and you are running, but all of a sudden you wake up. So where is tiger? Where is your chase? Maybe you had a gun and you shoot that tiger. Where is that gun now? So, this is Jnani's perspective. That everything happens in front of us. Like, in cinema house, in 10 minutes, a hero grows from a child to a young man. In 10 minutes. And you think that is real. So, from Jnani's standpoint, all these are part of Maya. Because of Maya, we are confused. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that Ishvara sarvabhutanam riddesha arjuna tishtati. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarurani maya. Nowadays we can understand. We are riding in a simulator. Nowadays that theory is also coming that this world is a simulation. And 3 scientists, they received Nobel Prize to say there is no world outside. So this is simulator. Like you close your eyes and you are dreaming. So dream is simulation. This is also a kind of that. You are already revealed according to Jnana. You are already achieved. Only still because of this Maya. So Brahmayan Sarvbhutani Yantrarurani Maya. So what is happening? God is residing within this and in the heart of a person. And people think that I am doing this or that. It's all are being simulated on a machine, as it were. Yantra rudhani, like they are riding on a simulator. How? This is my Maya, this is my play. Now somebody said, ask Sri Ramakrishna, and God is playing with us, but we are dying. So Sri Ramakrishna said, tell me who you are. Who you are. And he could not find himself. So we are acting as God wants us to act. I'm sitting here, I'm talking Vedanta. It's all will of God. Anyway. Akshay?
Yes, like what is the Parivyapti and Vritti Vyapti?
Say it again. What is that?
What Pal Prapti and
No,
Vritti
phala
Vyapti.
vyapti. Vritti vyapti, phala vyapti. Okay, what is this? This is a book, right? This is a book. So my mind goes and covers it and makes a wave. So it is called vritti vyapti, mental modification. It just takes this form. My mind takes this form and brings it back, as it were. But it is not recognized. The phala vyapti means when my awareness covers this, then it recognizes. So, vritti vyapti means when my mind goes and covers this and it creates a mental modification, that vritti. Vritti means mental modification. Vyapti means covering. And phala vyapti means recognizing it, by which we recognize. So what happens? Tatra jnanam dhyanashat. We have intellect. What is intellect? In intellect we have reflected awareness. Say, you are understanding me. How? You are understanding because you have awareness. Not pure awareness. It is in your intellect. So in our intellect we have reflected awareness. By that we recognize, oh, this is a book. You know, nowadays, say medical science will tell you that we have two lobes, and the impulses go to one lobe, the right lobe, and it is not recognized yet. And then left recognizes, searches like computer. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Then finds, oh, it is a book. But it's so quick, like computer. Few million or few billion calculations per second. So when it recognizes, how it recognizes? Recognition is not easy. It is possible through awareness only. And where is that awareness? In our intellect. Tatra ajnanam dhyanashet. By intellect, the ignorance is removed. You know, it is not this, it is not this, it is not chair, it is not table, it is not mobile phone. Then what is it? Then it says, oh, it is a book. Tatra ajnanam dhyanashet abhasena ghataspurit. By its awareness, the reflection of awareness, it reveals what it is. So like ghata, a picture, when you see this, then your awareness goes there, and the ignorance of that picture is removed by your awareness. And the awareness that is already within you, that says, oh, it is a ghata, recognizes. So, vritti vapya and phala vapya. Phala means fruit. After recognition, then comes the identification. So that reveals. Okay? Very good question.
Thank you.
Maharaj,
Eh,
I have a question, Pranam Maharaj.
no.
So I know you were saying many times this self-illumine light have the reflection, but from the reflection you cannot understand this self-illuminated soul. But how do you do it? You have to take help of this reflected awareness or light
Yeah, by
to go to
now
go to that.
yeah, take very good question. So now we have to hear again and again. Then you have to cogitate. Is Swami doing or says scripture says it is wrong or right? You may pose questions, and then gradually all the doubts will go. When doubts will go, then comes nididhyasana. Then you have to contemplate on it. So that's why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And one day, in fine moment, it will be revealed. It is not your work. It is not by our effort. It is self-revealing. It will reveal. As of now, also we have that awareness, a little of that reflected. That's why we all are talking, understanding, try to understand. So this is reflected. But then you will be face to face in front of the sun, and all the mirrors are removed. That is self revelation. That will happen. This must
Someday,
happen. That must
someday.
happen because already we are that. This is the strength of knowledge. This is the strength of knowledge. So again and again we have to contemplate. How to do that? Doing less this worldly things. Like let us concentrate there. How can you learn music? So suppose you have started sa and then somebody calls you, you go there and sa re ga ma. So you have to concentrate there over a period of time. And this requires aneka janma samsiddha tato yati param gati. It requires many births. But we are all will have. There is no doubt about it. We are all going to the ocean. And one day it will be revealed. And it can be hastened by putting some effort. Ultimately self-effort also is, it's all the grace, all, it's the self-revealing when it wants. Tami yami vaisha vinunte stena labhya. Two ways can be said. Who selects him is revealed. He gets that revelation. Or who is selected by him, this is revealed by. So either way, it will happen. It must happen. This is the strength of knowledge. Okay.
Thank you.
Om
Thank you.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishnarpanamastu. This is very nice, Vedantasara. This is the gist of Vedanta.
Mm. Very hard to understand, but very beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, Pranam Maharaj. Okay.
No.
Maharaj.
Namaste, namaste.
All right. Before we start to take this, I'm just taking. Mom,